Hey guys, it's your boy, Ballface8020, back again with another great commentary. First thing, we'll have a toast with a nice Sprite chill. That is, I'm gonna have to use my hands for this. So Sprite chill is basically just cherry Sprite. It started out as just like one of those like specialty flavors that they just do for a few months, but it was so popular that they made it permanent. And it's often difficult to find because it sells out so fast. It's basically about 1,000 times better than regular Sprite. Regular Sprite I drink just because I can't drink caffeine because of my depression. So, like, I can't have Coke or Cherry Coke or anything like that. So I drink Sprite, and then until I found this, which is, like, again, it is so much better. Oh, that's perfection. Anyway, U.S. government shutdown. Some of my viewers aren't American, and even many of my American viewers probably don't understand the minutia of how a government shutdown works. In most of the world, most countries have a parliamentary system. So if you can't pass a budget, if the government can't pass a budget, there's new elections. That's just not how it works in the U.S. There are no early elections. The elections are when they're set for. And if you can't pass a budget, the government shuts down. And what they start doing is furloughing non-essential people, stuff like that. Furloughing, yeah, you're basically furloughing. But, okay, in America, there's the president, there's the courts, and then the third branch, the legislature, is two different houses of Congress. One is the House of Representatives, and the other is the Senate. In the Senate, each state, America has 50 states, each state gets 2 senators. That's, how it was all set up by the Constitution. But there's this parliamentary quirk in the system. It was never in the Constitution. It just kind of got in there and its grandfather has become kind of like unofficial law. That in the Senate, you need 60 votes to get anything passed. If you don't have 60 votes, the minority, whoever's, on the losing end of that 60-40 split, or can do what's called a filibuster. Now, back in the day, it used to mean that they would have to get up there and, like, read the phone book and stuff, but they changed the rules so you can just, like, say, okay, I'm filibustering it. Can't do it. And you can just hold it off indefinitely. I guess the rule is to even proceed, you only need 51 votes to pass something, but you need, to even get it to a vote, you need 60 votes. So, which is really stupid, but that's the law, and it saved us from some very bad legislation in the past. So, I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying it makes no sense and it's retarded and it's probably unconstitutional. Okay, so that's the thing, because right now the Republicans control Trump is president. He's a Republican. And Republicans control both houses of Congress. They have like 52 or 53 seats in the Senate. I think 52. But Rand Paul is one of them, and he won't vote for it. But even still, they have over 50. Even if you just get to 50, you can use the vice president to break the deadlock. And then they control the House of Representatives. So the House of Representatives is okayed it for the government to go ahead, but so you're in a situation where the Republicans technically control the Senate, but the Democrats are able to stop them from keeping the government open. And that's the Democrats are going forward on this is saying, like, well, look, we're not shutting the government down. We don't have the power to shut down anything. Trump is the Republicans are shutting down the government. They have the votes, and technically speaking, the Democrats are correct. But practically speaking, they're not, because there's a filibuster. So what the Democrats are saying is, like, if you read their stuff, they're like, well, people don't really understand the nuances of filibuster and stuff. They just think, well, the Republicans are in charge, so they'll get blamed. Okay, look, whatever, man. The thing is, and I talked about this in my last video, I read their stuff, right? I read them on Twitter. I read their message boards. You know, they seem to literally not remember, because I haven't seen any of them. They do not remember that they tried this in the exact same circumstances in 2017. Trump was president. The Republicans controlled both houses. And then the Democrats shut down the government with a filibuster. That time, it was for the DREAM Act. They're saying we're not going to do appropriations unless you pass the DREAM Act. And which is this thing to like legalize like 1 billion immigrants, whatever. And of course, and they were thinking about it like it was a similar thing. They didn't like the Democratic leadership didn't want to do it, but the base demanded it, and they were thinking, and the Democrats were thinking like, well, Trump is so hated by the public, he's so unpopular, and the public is going to blame him for it. And the public wants the DREAM Act. According to the polls, they did. And then it's same thing. And then just like what they're doing now. It came out, the Democrats are like, look, the public is blaming Trump for the shutdown. Just like I explained in the last video. Yeah, the public always blames Trump for everything. If you ask any question to the public with Trump in it, they're going to come back with, the public will always respond with Trump is bad. We are against Trump's position. Because when Trump was prosecuted, right? When Trump got prosecuted, the polls were overwhelming that they wanted Trump to go to jail. Okay? The polls were overwhelming during Trump's impeachment that they wanted him impeached and removed from office. The polls are always against Trump. They always have been. They always will be. The public doesn't like Trump. Okay? That's old news. We get it. But anyway, just like in the last shutdown, they were saying, the Democrats were like, the public blames Trump. Okay, yeah. And the Democrats caved, and they caved pretty early because it wasn't working. It didn't matter what the polls said. Yeah, of course the polls didn't want Trump to do it. They didn't want Trump, didn't like Trump and are against Trump. We get it. It's all old news. And, just like they say, just like people say that, do you approve of what Trump is doing with ICE to round up illegals? Oh, no, that's horrible. And then they're going to go back and vote for Trump. That's just how the public is. And I don't understand how people don't get that at this point. People still don't understand it. I mean, I guess you'd think the people in the Democratic leadership mostly do, or would. I mean, they understood enough last time in the 2017 shutdown to give up, even though the polls said they were winning. Like I said, I read Democrat stuff. They're confident. They feel like they've got it on lock. They've got this. This is a win for them. Trump is flailing, and which is a good. And this goes back to what is it? It's not just that they hate Trump. It's they have a contempt for him. So they have to, in their mind, it's like, and it's not like a moral contempt, although they have that too. It's Trump is weak and he's stupid. Now, as for the stupid thing, Trump really is a complete buffoon. So don't get me wrong. So you can give them some pass on that. He is a buffoon, but he's not stupid. He's actually very shrewd. Is he like a master strategist? No, but I think it was Matthew Iglesias who said he has a sort of low cunning. And that's true. And what his enemies still don't appreciate. And then he has a real good sense of the media, what plays, what can get to work. I mean, sometimes he's just, a Mr. Magoo lashing out, which is instinctive to him, and it just kind of works out for him in a backwards way. But sometimes there is some strategy behind what he's doing. And he just has a good. But it's not strategic implies he's actually thinking it through. No, Trump operates he's a buffoon and he operates completely on instinct. However, his instincts are often strategically correct, tactically and strategically correct. But the other is that Trump is weak. There's a taco. Trump always chickens out. I only found out that that's what it meant recently. This idea that Trump is weak and he gives up, which is insane. Trump is there are times where everybody gets beat, everybody retreats. I've studied all of World War II, But the early years of Hitler's regime, I've studied a lot. And there were a lot of things in those early years where the Hitler and the Nazis had to backtrack, and cancel certain policies and stuff. But overall, they were able to successfully implement their agenda, which was a bad agenda, and disclaimer, obviously, but, well, at least it was mostly bad. But Trump gets his way. He gets his way. He does not always chicken out. You look back to the Kavanaugh thing. There is no president in U.S. history who could have gotten Kavanaugh through. Reagan would never have gotten Kavanaugh through. George Bush Sr. never would have gotten Kavanaugh through. George Bush Jr. would never have gotten Kavanaugh through. Only Trump could have gotten Kavanaugh through. And, that's just one example. There's so many things that only Trump can do. Plus, why don't you go ask the Iranians if Trump always chickens out? Because in the international world, no, it doesn't always work out. Like Trump's thing with Kim didn't work out. Trying to make peace with Putin didn't work out. But, there's been tons of people who talk tough against Trump. And in the international world, it's just been surrender after surrender to Trump. Giving into him. And so, no, Trump, this idea that Trump is a coward and it's just not true, but they have to believe it because their minds won't let them believe anything else. But like I said in the last video, if Trump is so incompetent at getting his way, why are you so anxious to get rid of him? Because the thing is, and they talk about all the time, like, oh, things will be so much better for us when Trump is gone. When Trump is gone, then it'll be better because that, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think they're fucked even after Trump leaves, but they know that Trump is the only one. I mean, that's why they tried to kill him at least twice, right? Probably more than that. They know that Trump is a uniquely dangerous to their agenda. It's all a bit of a digression. But anyway, in this case, though, Trump's not going to chicken out because there's nothing for him to chicken out to. Because right now, that's what they're saying. They're saying Trump is going to cave. Which, I mean, it's not going to happen for several reasons. One is Trump and the Republicans do not care who the public blames. They do not care that the polls are going to show that they're getting blamed for the shutdown. The midterms aren't for another 14 months. Well, I'm sorry, another 13 months, I'm sorry. The midterms aren't for another 13 months. Nobody's going to remember it anyway. Secondly, they know damn well that these polls don't mean shit. They've been through all this. They remember the last shutdown. Liberals, rank and file liberals don't remember it, obviously, because they just have, I don't know how, that was such a massive event that none of them remember. But whatever, that's just liberals, how liberals are, I guess. So that's the first reason. And then but the second reason is that, technically, like, if this does drag, like, let's say this drags on for a few weeks and the Republicans say, this is really hurting us, we need to reopen the government. Well, then they don't have to negotiate with the Democrats. They can just nuke the filibuster and just say, okay, well, we'll pass it with 51 votes and open the government back up. And that'll be the end of that. And I guess the Democrats will be able to take some kind of moral victory that they got the filibuster nuked. But the truth is the filibuster helps them more than it helps us because the way the Senate is structured in a way that it's going to be very difficult for the Democrats to win a majority in the Senate anytime soon, barring some kind of economic collapse or something. So yeah, I don't see that as particularly relevant. I mean, no Republican is worried about it. I promise you that. The only reason they're even doing this is because they're enjoying watching the Democrats kick themselves in the face. But if it starts hurting the Republicans, Thune will that's the Republican Senate leader. Senate Majority Leader. He'll just say, okay, whatever, we'll break the filibuster. We'll nuke the filibuster for this. But the other thing is that this is really an opportunity for Trump to, really aggressively gut more departments. And the one cope I'm seeing from Dems is he was going to do all that anyway. It's like, well, no, it doesn't work like that. That would be like saying that like when Hitler crushed all like the left-wing parties like in 1934 after the Reichstag fire. People are like, well, Hitler was going to do that anyway. It's like, yeah, but the fire gave him an excuse to do it. That, he wouldn't have, gave him a pretext and made it easier for him to do this. Like, Trump has already been aggressively paring down the government. He's able to use this now to fire a lot more people. I mean, we know it's already started. And really gut programs that benefit blue states. So, I mean, for him, it's a win-win. As of now, we don't know. It's so early. The early polls are showing that he's getting blamed for it. Okay, whatever. Let's wait 2 weeks and then see where Trump's polls are. They're probably going to be about the same where they are here. In which case, he would prefer this thing. He would prefer that for him, it's preferable that things keep going like this. He can just say, hey, it's government shutdown. I have to fire all these people. My guess is that because the reason the Democratic leadership doesn't want to do this shutdown. Chuck Schumer, who's the leader of the Democrats in the Senate, has to do it because AOC is going to primary him in whenever he's up for re-election. I don't know if that's next year or whatever. And the Democratic base wants to fight Trump. To them, this Trump's presidency has been this second term has just been a complete terror. They're in turmoil. They need to stand up to Trump. And they believe Trump is weak and that if you just stand up to him, he goes away. They have a very childish way of looking at the world. And so the thing is, if Schumer doesn't go through with this, if he doesn't do this shutdown, even though he obviously doesn't want to, then AOC is going to use that against him in the primary. And it's going to be really bad for him. So that's why he's doing it, even though he doesn't believe in it. And, I mean, hell, he definitely remembers 2017. But, so anyway, so that is why they're doing it. And then, where was I going with all this? So if Trump's fires there, he's able to purge more of the bureaucracy and stuff. Okay, anyway, so let's say 2 weeks from now, it's right. Like I said, right now the public is blaming Trump, just like they did last time. Last time, the Dems caved so early. They caved on it so early. They were like, oh, okay, well, that you didn't really get to see where it was going. But by the time that the Dems caved, the polls still showed that Trump was being blamed. This time, I don't think, because of the whole primary dynamic, that they're going to be able to cave quite that fast. I think that they have to keep this shutdown going for at least a while, at least until it starts to clearly politically hurt them. But as long as the politics of it are ambiguous, the Dems have to keep going with this. 2 weeks from now, if it's clearly hurting Trump, again, Trump's not going to cave. They'll just nuke the filibuster. I don't think it's going to go that way. I think what you're going to see is the polls are going to overwhelmingly stay the whole time this is Trump's fault, because that's just how the American public are a bunch of retarded faggots. We already knew that. They'll keep saying that for the next 2 weeks or whatever weeks. But what you really need to look at is Trump's approval rating. And I don't think that's going to change. I think it's going to be about the same today as it is 2 weeks from now. We'll see. If it is, and you don't see much movement, because right now, okay, the public blames Trump. Mostly blames Trump, but there is some blame for the Democrats. It's not overwhelming. As long as you don't see big movement in that, and Trump's public support is still the same as it is now, then I think that Trump actually prefers the government being shut down. I think it makes it easier for him to act. And I think it opens up options that he doesn't have if the government is being funded. And I think he's going to want to keep it going as long as he can. Again, once it becomes politically disadvantageous to it, Thune nukes the filibuster and we're done. So actually the official, but anyway, what's the reason? They obviously, the Democrats can't just say we're shutting down the government because we don't like Trump, which is what they're doing. Like when the Republicans had tried some shutdowns back in, I think 2011 was their first one they tried to do it to repeal Obamacare. And it didn't work. The public, like the public still at the time didn't like Obamacare, but they also didn't want the government shut down. And the Republicans, they didn't really take a hit for it. They showed their base that they were willing to fight, and it did hurt the Republicans for like a day, and then the public with their goldfish memory forgot about it. But and then 2014 was a great year for the Democrats. So I mean, for the Republicans, this is an own goal, is in the sense that the Democrats are going to end up humiliated and have further empowered Trump. But it's not something that I expect to really impact the midterms. Except the thing is, with the government, officially the Democrats are shutting it down over health care, which is their strongest issue. So the Republicans are saying, well, you're actually shutting it down to give health care to illegals. And it's kind of true. Part of because of Trump's big, beautiful bill, that it gave him the ability to claw back and make sure that no money went to health care for illegals. And that's one of the things that the Democrats are demanding be rescinded. So is it the main thing? No. Do the Democrats even really care about it? No. But it is something that they're on. They can't that they could go out and say okay, we give that part up. We don't want the health care for illegals. We'll keep the other stuff. But they can't do that because that's not going to fly with their base. So will that narrative stick? I mean, unfortunately, if that narrative does stick, then the Democrats will cave the next day. But the idea is these things have a cumulative effect. What you want to do is associate Democrats, party of immigrants. Democrats are the ones who want to give health care to illegals. And that's an issue that actually doesn't poll well. Usually when you ask Americans about immigration, they're like, oh yeah, love immigrants. Immigrants are so great. We need more immigrants. And but when you ask them, should illegals get free health care? They're like, no. Americans are just retards. Again, the democracy is the problem. But as long as we have it, we have to work with it. So, yeah, and then so the Democrats, if you have, I don't know if you've been following it, but to really emphasize that the Democrats are doing this for illegals, the Republicans have been putting up these really childish memes of Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries in a sombrero with a mustache and saying andale, we want to give health care to illegals. And it's one of those things that it's funny because it's just so stupid and it's so childish. I don't really think it's funny in and of itself. I thought it was kind of funny the first time, again, just because of how childish it is. And they like to tell themselves that liberals are getting all triggered by it. I read liberal stuff. I don't see that. I don't even see them mentioning it. Now on TV, it does seem like some of the people on TV are triggered about it. So maybe that's what they're going for. But who watches TV anymore? Right. So, predictions, right? I'm going to be honest with you. In 2017, I didn't think the Democrats would cave that fast. I thought, so I have been wrong before. I don't think they can cave that fast this time because of the internal political things. So the hard predictions that I guess I've already made some of them. Public blames Trump, which I expected. I didn't actually predict it because I didn't know in my last video they were going to do it. Maybe I did predict it. I can't remember. But I did say that the public always blames Trump. So polls showing the public blames Trump. Okay, good. Saw that. Trump not caring. Saw that. The thing is, it's going to be like a week or 2 weeks. I'm not sure most normies even realize the government has shut down yet. 2 weeks from now, see if Trump's approval. That's what I'm much more concerned about. Like Trump's approval. And yeah, I know the public is going to blame Trump, but how much more do they blame Trump? How much more are they going to be blaming Trump in 2 weeks as compared to now? My guess is numbers are going to be about the same. I wouldn't even be surprised if it was reversed and they were starting to blame Democrats more. Trump's approval, my guess, 2 weeks from now, it's the same. If that's the case, Trump is going to keep the shutdown going and the Republicans will back him up. And then it's a question of how long do the Democrats hold out? Geez, I don't know. Like I said, I don't see an easy way out this time. The left wing, the base of the party is much stronger. Schumer's, again, looking at a primary. If Schumer caves, that would essentially be a retirement option. And is he willing to sacrifice, these people cling to power like Golem clings to the ring. Is he willing to do that at this stage? Is he willing to hand over his Senate seat to AOC? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't see a clear way out. I mean, I can tell you in the past, it's always been clearly resolved. I didn't see a clear way out in 2017, other than that the Democratic leadership just came to their senses. I don't know if that's going to happen this time because I don't know if the Democratic establishment is strong enough, after, these years of Trump. I'm not going to predict a long, indefinite shutdown. If you want me to make a prediction, it's that somehow this gets resolved between weeks 2 and 4. But I think it is possible that we could have an indefinite shutdown that drags on for months. And I think that that's what Trump wants. That's all for now. See you in the next.